Hey everybody, welcome to a magical commentary. I say magical because I'm joined by very special guests this time. It's not just me. I'm joined by Levi. Levi, how are you, buddy?
Hey, happy to be here. Let's review this movie.
Well, yeah, man, the commentary. Oh, I can't wait because Black Panther's coming up and we have to see Black Panther in his debut. So we haven't started the movie yet, so if you want to watch along with us, all you have to do is start the movie. We're watching, starting at 0 seconds. We'll let you know when we see like the 1991 symbol pop up for the first card. So, all right, Levi, on the K of Mark. 3, 2, 1, Mark. There we go. There we go. Still darkness. And there we go. Starting to see Siberia, 1991. You're seeing it too, right?
The year I was born, baby.
Oh, it's a bad year. I'm just kidding. So, Levi, this movie has a lot going on in it. Would you say it's one of your favorite Marvel movies?
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah? Yeah, mine too. I really, really dig it. This intro, just kind of so, like, if you didn't see Winter Soldier, or if you haven't seen any of these Marvel movies, I think you'd be completely lost, right? Yeah.
This movie is fire. I'm not going to lie.
It's fire.
It's fire. But, God. I love Civil War. No, it's great. They who would have thought Marvel could put an Avengers film and in its own little category.
Yeah, like an Avengers versus Avengers kind of thing. Or 2.5.
Like, we're going to sneak an Avengers film into a Captain America film. Like, what?
Yeah, basically. Which I think I would kind of like to see them do that. They can't always do this, but going forward, I don't want to really see standalone superheroes anymore,
I mean, we've seen enough of those. We don't really need it.
Mm-hmm. You see Homecoming there. I always think that's a nod towards Spider-Man Homecoming, in the future.
I wonder if that was a little Easter egg. It could have been.
I looked into it. I don't think it was, but it could have been.
Well, how often are you going to see the word homecoming? Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's true. Apparently they picked a bunch of Russian words that were kind of chewy was the word, I think, that they used. Because we see these, again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Winter Soldier is one of those characters that kind of came into prominence, just more recently because the way they have him portrayed is just so cool. Like, he's Captain America, but Terminator at the same time, which is really appealing, I think.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Now, this was teased back in Winter Soldier, actually, Captain America Winter Soldier, that he was the one that kind of killed, spoiler alert, Stark's parents.
Lily and James Potter. What?
Lily James. Yeah, exactly. He's Voldemort. But, yeah, this is, when they show the rest of this later on, pretty brutal bit here.
What is that supposed to be? Is that a spoiler? Can you tell me that?
No, I can tell you. This is supposed to be like the Super Soldier Serum.
Super Soldier Serum.
So right from the beginning here, we're already getting like a bait and switch. We're all supposed to think that the Super Soldiers are the ones that we're going after in the end, but maybe that's not true. So
I can't wait to see Bucky take up the Captain America title.
Yeah, well, he might. He very well may do that. We'll see. I say keep Chris Evans around for as long as you can.
Well, yeah.
I thought it was interesting to have Scarlet Witch be part of the covert team. What do you think about that?
Not a huge fan. She's okay. Yeah. She's okay.
Do you like her power set?
Again, she's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a little shoehorned how she's like the reason this all kicks off, but
yeah. Nice to see Crossbones, as it were, but Rumlow back from Winter Soldier.
Yep.
I really like him. Weird that they have them sitting right next to each other,
Yeah. ScarJo.
I think one of the reasons we don't have Cap and Falcon kind of in street clothes right now. We see them in street clothes a lot later on, but because they're wearing their outfits, they can't really go anywhere right now, you know?
Yeah.
And some much needed upgrades to Falcon in this movie, I
yeah.
really love the drone and the missiles and stuff and the shield.
Well, leave it to Marvel to always come up with clever costume designs and.
Don't know why he needs to say that to the drone to give him X-ray, but
Warhammer's different actor, right? Like
War Machine.
War Machine, yeah, because
Yeah.
What was his name? Cubing Shooter. How do you say his name?
No, you're talking about Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, is that the name? Who am I thinking
The guy
of?
plays either Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, who is that?
That's a different guy.
Okay. I'm just thinking of these different guys. The guy I'm thinking of, though, he was in it for the first Iron Man film, and then it was...
You're thinking of, yeah, I forget his name, but yeah, the guy who did the first one. I'll look it up quick.
Warhammer, right? War Machine?
War Machine, yeah.
Why do I
Not
keep saying Warhammer? They should have called him Warhammer.
40K.
Here comes some sweet CPT moves right off the bat.
And the cool thing is that Falcon dropped him out of that, which is great. And you do see the co-op working right away. Oh, that drop kick.
Gotta love that shield.
The Russos know how to make Cap seem like quite a threat.
Yeah.
Which I love. The physicality of their fight scenes much higher,
Yeah, this part's cool.
Yeah, she's pretty powerful. She could probably do all this by herself if she wanted to.
Gotta love that.
Oh, Cap.
I think it still feels a little weird with the introduction of X-Men, the way that they have.
Oh, you think it might be weird to introduce X-Men?
No, I mean, technically they're not X-Men, but the mutants, right? The enhanced.
Sure, yeah, the miracles as they're kind of called right now. Yeah, it might be a little strange. I get that. Terrence Howard, by the way, is the name of that character you're thinking of, or the actor, I should say.
What's his name?
The actor, Terrence Howard.
Okay, and then who plays it now?
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. I like Don Cheadle. Yeah.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's good.
He's funny. He's a funny guy.
So, Levi, you remember Shocker in Spider-Man: Homecoming? There's kind of one or two people who kind of play Shocker, but you remember him? He has that gauntlet. I think is supposed to be a repurposed version of one of the ones we see Rumlow using here, Crossbones. That kind of punch thing with electricity added in. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, though. Side note: Black Widow. If any of these guys would just shoot her, it really drives me nuts. She ran up to them, and these are all highly trained people. And just nobody can ever... They're like, oh, she's so pretty. And they just kind of can't do... look, that guy. What? Yeah, it just makes me angry.
Who is this
again? He kind of looks like Deathstroke. A little. Just a little bit.
Who's this guy?
This is Crossbones.
Crossbones.
Right there, I think Black Widow is just not a regular... She's not a regular human. I think she's superhuman. They just don't talk about it. Now, Levi, I remember seeing this in theaters and watching this hit.
Oh.
And people going, oh.
Yeah.
Because they shot it in a way where you're like, oh, he's just going to hit... Oh, he hits two things. Okay.
Yeah, it's rough.
Another thing I really like about this establishing scene is kind of showing off some characters who are going to be on one side of this fight and one side of another fight, but that this has kind of nothing to do with the overarching
the
thing,
scope of the movie. Yeah,
yeah. Obviously it's the tipping point, or it's the that moment that starts it all off, but this is just like a completely separate event. This is just like their day-to-day.
Yeah, see, this totally feels like the beginning to an Avengers film, so...
Oh, for sure, yeah. But, like, it's a smaller scope enough, because when we saw Avengers, Age of Ultron, that one starts off with, like, all the Avengers, everybody's blowing stuff up. This one's got a little bit of that, but not as much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that.
He just takes the worst hits.
See, and, like, he knows how to fight Cap, which is cool.
ScarJo, what are you going to do? Get out of there.
Yeah, well, she's going to do some front flips and stuff.
I love the shield.
I like that.
The wing shield.
Falcon really doing work with those wings.
Do you like Falcon or do you like War Machine better? I think I like Falcon better, because War Machine is just a guy in a suit, right?
Well, I mean, you could say the same about Falcon to some degree, but I think I like Falcon as a character better, but I like War Machine's outfit a lot.
Well, no, see, the difference, I feel like, he's not just a guy in a suit, because Falcon needs to maneuver himself a lot differently.
That's true.
He has to, like, he doesn't have to just, like, push off with, like, boots of, like, Iron Man boots, and then, like, speed forward, like, in a suit that's pretty much automated for you,
Sure. He's definitely more vulnerable than War Machine. See, my thought is, like, if he dropped that, he'd have to, like, throw it at the ground.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
I don't know why she needs to, like, grab that and, like, flip up immediately. It's like... I'm sorry. I don't want everyone to think I hate Black Widow.
We don't hate... Here at Critical Reviews, we don't hate Black Widow. We just think that...
Yeah. I just want a better, like, super-powered female, on the team. That's all I want.
We're waiting for Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel's been waiting.
That's what we're saying.
And like Scarlet Witch is fine, but
it's gonna be just as good, if not better, than Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I hope so. It's funny, like how he does like the knife swings and it makes like that shing shing noise, but that's not how that would work. Another thing that's fun about this is seeing him after this, that there are consequences from the previous film with him.
Yeah. Refresh our viewers' memories. What happened to him again?
He was in the Triskelion, which was like big shield base, when it fell apart.
Yeah.
When I hear that line, when you gotta go, I always think of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a real rough way to die.
Oh.
Now, usually, in these types of movies, that stuff happens all the time, but there aren't any ramifications for it. But this is like one of the first times I feel like Batman vs Superman was kind of the same way, where it was like heroes owning up to problems, But that's another thing that you look at Age of Ultron that they did pretty well, was that they rescued a bunch of civilians, which in a lot of superhero movies they don't do. So it's like Marvel kind of hears these things.
Should have just pushed them back.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's a first look at some of this de-aging technology that Marvel's been kind of, not pioneering necessarily, but using a lot of. I think it's pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah.
Kind of like...
Yeah, I love... And it's just weird that the voice maybe could have brought up a couple octaves, but...
Well, it's weird to see him like that, because like it's kind of hard to determine his age. Like he's probably like mid-20s, early 20s, supposedly here for Tony Stark, but... He's like, oh man, my dad is murdered. Mm-hmm. So how incredible would this technology be if you actually had it?
The Iron Man technology, or what are you talking about?
The technology they show off here, that he is basically reliving a memory right now, which is a cool reveal because I kept thinking, I was like, oh, this must be like a flashback.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I think it would be pretty cool. It reminds me of Harry Potter, definitely, of like
for sure, dude.
Pensieve and everything like that.
Yeah, totally.
I just watched those films, so that's why.
I like that kind of sad Tony Stark in the background there,
yeah.
Just kind of chilling out there. And that his parents are going off to get killed by the Winter Soldier right there, which is really cool. Like, that whole, how it ties together, I should say.
He looks good. Definitely. They did make him look good and young. Sounded weird. They made him look like a good young Tony Stark.
Yeah.
They made him look good and young.
We want our Tony Stark good and young. That's the scary thing, though, is that going forward, people are wondering if a lot of actors will sign off on their likenesses to be used in other movies that they won't necessarily have to, act in.
Yeah.
As much. Or they could act younger, or, you could have your Michael Douglas, keep acting until he couldn't act anymore.
Yeah.
People would go insane if he allowed them to just kind of get all the money they need for their researches,
Yeah.
for their projects. People would be like, oh my god, people would be rushing the stage probably. So I looked into this, Levi, and I thought the reason Pepper Potts wasn't in this was because Gwyneth Paltrow was hard to work with, or they didn't have the money, or something like that. But apparently, the Russo brothers, who directed this, decided, speaking of Russo brothers, he's the dean from Community, which they worked on episodes of that in the past, but they said they needed to have something that made Tony Stark off-kilter for the third act.
Yeah.
And they said if they would have Pepper in there, he'd be too even keel. He wouldn't go kind of nuts. So taking stuff away from his life, Pepper Potts, the biggest thing. You take that away from him, kind of loses his emotional center, as it were. Do you like that idea, or do you like Pepper Potts at all?
I really do like her, actually. I think that she is great in the Iron Man films. There's not a lot of supporting female actresses that I enjoy in superhero movies, and she's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
I do love Pepper Potts, yeah. I like her character, and I think that she's strong, and I think that she makes a good love interest.
Yeah. Do you like her more than Natalie Portman?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I've never been a huge Natalie Portman fan.
Yeah, she's fine. I think weirdly for me...
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say I love this actress. She's...
Oh, yeah.
She's in... this isn't who I'm thinking of from... Justice League, right?
No,
okay.
She's not Amanda Waller.
Okay.
No, I think she's actually also a villain in Luke Cage.
I was gonna say, yeah, she looks familiar, and I've seen her in stuff before.
And I think Robert Downey Jr. actually, he was the one who recommended her to be in this role because they wanted somebody to, kind of be big enough on screen and to make an impact on Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this scene was also inspired by Jaws. In that movie, Brody, the police guy, he gets a picture or something. A mom comes up and says that her son was killed by the shark. And now it's kind of like a similar thing going on here with her son getting killed in Sokovia. Again, reinforcing that theme of your actions have consequences. Like, this world is real. It's not just that you blew up a building and it's fine. It's like, whoa, people died.
Why is she blaming him?
Well, because Ultron, remember, blew up Sokovia, basically, or tried to make it into a meteor.
But it's not his fault.
Well, he made Ultron.
Yeah, but he had good intentions.
Well, that's the path to destruction is paved with good intentions, right?
Mm-hmm. What is that from?
I don't know. It's from something.
Is that like an Avenged Sevenfold song or something?
I don't know. So I love seeing legitimate news stations like that. I always wonder if they are asked Hey, do you want to shoot something for Captain America: Civil War?
Yeah, they're like,
sure, I'll do
hey,
like
Anderson Cooper, like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, exactly. I think the King T'Chaka here, I think they cast him perfectly, and I also think Chadwick Boseman is perfect casting as well, like, for when we see them later on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they call them enhanced individuals. Apparently you can see a picture of Pietro over on the side there in one of the pictures.
Who?
Her brother, Quicksilver.
Oh.
That's his trigger is Bucky, and unlike Batman's, who is Martha, you just say one word to these superheroes and they just freak out. Like, what? What? Another cool thing, kind of looking at it from this perspective, or kind of seeing it again and again, but finally realizing this, where with Wanda and Steve, they kind of share a lot in common because they're kind of just like kept, just for missions and stuff. They don't really have normal lives. They never could, even though they're considered like they're just regular humans that just have special abilities now.
Yeah.
So. And Vision, played by Paul Bettany. What a perfect casting call, too.
It's not the original Jarvis voice, is it?
That is the original Jarvis voice.
Oh, so he's a voice actor and an actual actor.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the fact that Thunderbolt Ross is in this movie is the only thing that legitimizes, and the fact that Iron Man is at the end of Incredible Hulk, that Incredible Hulk is actually part of the MCU. Like that movie.
Say that again? Thunder Boss?
Thunderbolt Ross here.
Oh. Because he was in...
Back with Ed Norton. You remember that?
Yeah. Why haven't we seen him since then?
He's just been hanging out. I love that he says that. He's like, you guys are a dangerous group.
Yeah.
He's scary. Now, this is a nice thing to kind of bring people up to speed who haven't seen the other movies, potentially. Kind of showing the Avengers from another point of view of, like, Hulk maybe accidentally killing that cameraman. And then, yeah, it kind of looks back at him like, well, this is what happened in New York, huh? Then Washington with the Triskelion. This is where Rumlow got crushed by the Triskelion and the helicarriers in that horrible event. And then, obviously, here in Sokovia.
Well, when you put it this way, I mean, it is pretty much their fault, like their rise in their powers has...
It's what Vision says later on.
It kind of brings out the worst in people.
Yeah, for sure. People that rise to the challenge,
Yeah. So it's almost like maybe the superhero should go away. Or that's what some people would think, but...
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing here is that Ross kind of presents himself as not saying, like you're gonna do this, He kind of says, like, you will either do it or you'll retire. But never does he say, like, we're gonna start, bringing you guys in, because it'd be a scary thing to try to piss off the Avengers. I think Thor's in Asgard. Hulk is not here, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening to some music over there?
Me?
Yeah.
No, why? What do you hear?
Oh no, I just hear some good beats.
Oh, that's from downstairs. No,
Oh yeah.
that's the theme song from Shameless. Doug's watching Shameless downstairs.
Ah, gotcha.
Swaller Shameless fans. Good show.
Cleveland. Now, apparently, the introduction for Zemo was him at a black market auction where he gets that book that we saw in the beginning with all the, the information to use against Winter Soldier, and he like gasses and kills everybody there. But they said it was too mysterious and it wasn't enough, so this is kind of his introduction instead, which is kind of strange all the same that he found this like Russian guy in Cleveland. But do you like Zemo as a villain?
I like the actor a lot more than the character. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I do really appreciate the actor, and I like what he's been in before. And I'm trying to replace my finger on where I've seen him, but I do like him a lot. Yeah, just very hardcore. Just goes right at it,
Yeah.
Jimmy, what have we seen him in before? I'm gonna look this up.
I don't know.
What's his name?
I don't remember his name. I just saw it recently.
We got our trusty Google. Let's see. Zemo. Z-I-M-O?
No, Zemo.
Helmut Zemo.
All I want to see is him in a purple onesie.
Played by Daniel.
It's like his
Blue.
comic.
He was in Rush, Inglourious Bastards. That's right, Inglourious Bastards. That's where I've seen him before. I liked him in that. Yeah.
I don't remember. Was he one of the good guys?
No, I think he was the bad Germans. But I like him.
I'm not sure this would drown this guy the way that he does this.
Well, if it covers your nose and your mouth, right?
Well, like, they kind of show this where he could kind of almost bend up and not drown, but
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's going to come save him anyway, so he'd probably just die of hunger or something. I think the reimagining of Zemo for this works, and he's not really supposed to be the main focal point of this film. Obviously, it's more so that the heroes needed a reason to kind of go against each other, and he kind of helps facilitate some of that later on,
Mm-hmm. I feel like the blood rush into your head would kill you faster than
Yeah, I don't know what
drowning. Yeah, I wonder if because it gets in your nose, if that's what it does it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because it's not like it can really get to your lungs unless you're trying to breathe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how is it makeup or is that a suit that he wears over his face?
So it's like a balaclava kind of around him, kind of like a hood,
Oh, okay.
and it's also makeup. It's pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
It's some interesting things along with Vision, kind of saying something similar to what Thor says in the very first Avengers. He says, like, kind of, if you want the Tesseract and you're trying to make weapons, you're kind of telling the other worlds that you're ready for a higher form of war.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Vision, another reason why he's kind of interesting, especially in this one, he's wearing like sweaters and stuff. It's not just because they're trying to cut back on makeup costs. Apparently, Vision's trying to be more of a human, a regular person, but they're actually not real clothes. Those are actually just part of his skin that he makes, look like clothes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I like Tony Stark, but in this movie, it's weird to have him be the one to kind of give this talk. I get he's learned and he's changed over time. It just seems kind of a little weird to have him be like, oh yeah, we're so great, and look at what we've done. Like one person came and told him this. Like he's must have known what he's been doing, killing lots of people inadvertently.
I think for a while he's started to feel the ramifications of, what he's done. I know he's had problems with this ever since Iron Man, where, he's had troubles with people and his like weapons.
Yep, exactly. And one thing the Russo brothers said is that they didn't want people to say like, "Oh yeah, Team Cap is right, Team Iron Man is wrong," or vice versa. He said, "I want you to come out of this movie theater or this movie thinking, wow, I'm not sure who I, kind of back," because they both have good points.
Yeah.
So basically, my question, Levi, is: are you Team Cap or Team Iron
Man? Team Black Panther.
Yeah, me too. Team Black Panther is the best team, dude.
James, I will be right back. Just grabbing some water really quick.
All right, I'll be
down
here.
The fort. To answer your question, it's a very hard question to answer, because they both have good intentions. It's not a good versus evil situation.
Yeah. That's true. I'm kind of surprised that they tackled this in this movie. And I think a lot of it is to do with Agent 13.
What is this now?
This is his, Carter's funeral.
Oh.
Yeah. But
she was old though, right? She was.
Yeah, they tackled that in Winter Soldier, and I think this is just kind of the through line. And he kind of has a new romantic interest in her niece here. Obviously her aunt being her. But kind of interesting reveal. Do you like that? Like, I know some people weren't a huge fan. I just like this actress because I watch the show Revenge.
I do like
so
her.
I really like her. I don't know if they necessarily have a lot of good chemistry.
Yeah.
But
is this supposed to be Cap's end all be all love interest?
I don't know. That's the hard thing. And most of these, with superhero, unless you're a Lois Lane or not even an MJ, but it's hard to have a end all be all love interest. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, though, with the Infinity Stones, they could bring Peggy Carter back.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw that they announced a second season of Agent Carter. Is that right?
They had 2 seasons, but they're all done. It's all wrapped up.
What did they just? Oh, was that Jones? Did they just announce the second season?
Jessica Jones.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Very different.
We're gonna get. Yeah. Don't listen to me.
Kristen Ritter is Agent Carter.
Jimmy's gonna edit this out right now.
Oh no, we're keeping it all in. This is gold. This is why people listen.
Oh great, so I can get flamed as being sexist.
No, just flamed as being dumb. They do a good job of trying to establish a lot of these interpersonal relationships amongst the crew, which is it's cool. I appreciate that. I guess it makes it more interesting when they have to come to blows.
Yeah.
But this first bit of Civil War, as much as I do love this movie, it does move kind of slow if you're kind of not very familiar with these characters.
Mm-hmm. I much rather prefer her hair in this one than I do on the run in Infinity War.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see all that. I have to watch it, and then I'll know. This is more of like your classic Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it picks up, and this is where we get the first shot of one of the coolest characters in the whole film.
Yeah, man.
Yep, there he is. What a perfect shot to start off with T'Challa. Now, apparently, they had a way bigger role for Spider-Man, but they weren't sure that Sony deal was going to work out. So instead, they decided to focus on Black Panther. And by the time they signed that deal with Sony about Spidey, they couldn't really make it work without Black Panther being vital, because he's a big part of this.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's smarter. I'd rather have them focus on Black Panther in this instead of Spider-Man, because we've seen so much of Spider-Man.
I'm so excited for this storyline to unfold.
Yeah, and I think he's just the perfect actor for it. I think he's got this really interesting way of how he delivers his lines.
Mm-hmm. I love his accent.
Yeah.
Get that man a shield.
Yeah. But he's just, I think he's from America. I think he's got like just a regular old American accent.
Really?
But he does such a good job with this. Yeah, he's incredible.
To make him sound more British?
Well, not
kind
British
of
so much as, no, it's kind of this, I don't know, it's kind of a mix.
It's like a French, like kind of African, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. But apparently Kevin Feige called him up and he said, hey, we have a role we're kind of interested in you, partaking in. And he's like, I think you know what that role is. And I think Chadwick Boseman had said to him, yeah, I think I know what that is. And he's just kind of like, oh, I'm already in, kind of just, man, sure. So. And also Ultron stealing vibranium to make that Sokovia meteor, basically, and having that be part of this is really cool. I love it. Kind of the first look we get at, T'Challa's actual superhuman abilities there. Because sometimes it gets kind of confusing. Like, is the suit what makes him strong? No, he has superhuman abilities as well.
Yeah.
I see him leap like a panther there to save his dad.
Where does he get those abilities from? Is he's not considered like a mutant, an X-Men, right?
No, he is. It's kind of like passed down the Black Panther mantle, but there's this. It gets kind of confusing. They basically make this like concoction. Where it kind of passes down like the knowledge of all the past kings and all this stuff, but it also makes him super strong, super fast, like high agility,
yeah,
reflexes, all that jazz.
What's the timeline for Black Panther? When does that take place?
So Black Panther right now, from this recording, this is like a few days before we actually see it. I believe it's taking place after Civil War here, but right before Infinity War.
Because his dad is dead, right?
Yes, he's taking over. It's basically him going home to fight for the throne.
Oh, is that what his villain is? I haven't really read up on it, so.
Yeah, there's a few villains. There's a lot of people who are like trying to take the mantle of Black Panther. There's lots of different tribes. So we're going to probably see 2 or 3 villains for sure.
Ah, that's why they both have like a Black Panther suit. That would make sense.
Yep.
To duke it out to see who's the better Black Panther. I get it. I like it. Can't wait to see it.
That's going to be good.
As of right now, viewers, we've got a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is nuts.
Which is nuts for a Marvel film. It'll be the highest rated Marvel film if that's true. We'll see.
I just double checked it. I forgot about this. It's a heart-shaped herb that Black Panther gets to eat, and it gives him enhanced strength, speed, agility, stamina, durability, healing, and reflexes.
Cool.
So,
and he eats that just once, or
I think it's just he
that's
just
like
has
a
partake
right
in
passed
it.
down. Okay.
Yeah, which is really cool. I think that's it's fun because he's got like that Batman aspect where he's this genius who has all this money, but he's also a king.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. Now that ring, I believe, is made of vibranium, and later on we see it interact with Bucky's arm in a weird way. I still have no idea what that's all about. That Black Panther theme in the background there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somehow Zemo tricked those cameras into thinking he looked like the Winter Soldier. I have no idea how he managed to do that.
Who's he gonna kill? Oh, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Why was she here?
Well, she was there as a representative for the Avengers for this.
Oh.
You know? It seems like she's become kind of the public face of the Avengers ever since Winter Soldier. It's so you keep a low profile in the Marvel Universe. But you get a leather jacket, you get a baseball cap, get some aviators. No one's going to know.
Exactly.
You're hidden from everything.
With the hats and everything, yeah.
So we're building up here to the first, like, kind of, or I should say second big action scene. We had that intro action scene, but I think, oh man, this scene coming up here between Cap and Bucky and
oh, he's like, don't do it. Just like picking him up, like,
yeah, it's so good. And there's Zemo just learning Russian, as one does. This movie is all about revenge and consequences, but apparently the Russos said it's more a story about divorce because it's about like this family breaking apart, which I totally understand. That makes sense. But Zemo's plan to set up is pretty complex. It's pretty intense.
I have your breakfast.
He's like, yep, get out of here. Got my EMP device. Just looking at the plums at the market. Do you think if Bucky would have just made himself have a mohawk that, like, and it just really stood out, that no one would know it was him? They'd be like, oh, Winter Soldier wouldn't.
Yeah.
Gosh, you could tell how cut he already is, even with like 3 or 4 layers of clothes on. Like the dude's like, pretty beefy.
I'd like to see him with shorter hair, though.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Just props to Marvel for taking a character that was not as super well known. Obviously, it's like you look at Batman and Robin, and he's kind of, in a weird way, a little bit like a Robin to Cap, not exactly the same, and just making him so popular and everybody knows him.
So did they sign the deal right now that they would work with the United Nations panel?
So they're working on signing the Sokovia Accords, and some of them have signed, I think, at this point, but not everybody has. They're still trying to get like Cap to sign, but
because I'm just thinking, like for Infinity War, is it the United Nations panel that's like, okay, we're sending you in, like,
yeah, exactly. Like at that point, it's probably not going to matter. Like, I'll be like, What are we gonna do? Thanos. I like his suit a lot in this movie and Winter Soldier. I think Cap's suit looks really good. How do you feel about it? Do you like the kind of muted colors?
Yeah, I think so. I like Cap. Much less flashy. I like the little wings on his helmet.
Yeah.
Compared to the 1940s version that they did.
Yeah, well, the one, especially in Avengers, the first one is like really not great.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen some of those like old? Because didn't they do like an Avengers film before? Like back in the day.
They did an old Captain America one in the 1980s with I think Hasselhoff was in it or something.
Yeah, like old. I love those old superhero movies back then.
Yeah, do you actually like them, or is it just because you think they're funny?
I just think they're funny.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, we can hear you. We heard you from a block away coming. Like, they have sight and sense of everything. So. And
I just love how they have this teamwork. So good. This sequence just goes insane, and I really love it.
Ooh. Oh, I love that.
It just, the way they shoot it is so well done, and it is shaky cam sometimes, but they do a good enough job of showing you what you need to see. Mm-hmm. Like, you're never confused at what's happening.
I love these guys together. It's such good chemistry.
Blocking bullets with your arm is so cool. Just ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Man, these hits, they just know how to make you feel everyone.
He uses them as a weapon.
These poor SWAT guys had no chance. Using the battering ram, too, to hit people, that's...
Oh, ouch, that would just devastate. Because you imagine how much that's hitting for with his enhanced.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. I love how he just saves this guy. It's like, come on.
I like that.
Another thing they do really well right there is that they have a little bit of humor, but not too much, in their fights, which is a criticism I have a lot of these newer movies, like with Ragnarok and stuff. It's like just jokes constantly.
Yeah.
But this one is like, they take it seriously. Ooh.
It's like a sorry, I lost my train of thought in the action.
That's good. A jump.
I just wanted to point out though the railing would not bend the way that they wanted to.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. There he is. Oh man.
Oh.
BP looks so good.
What's the name of the actor?
You're talking about Chadwick Boseman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently this suit is entirely CG.
What?
No and I'm not sure. Like, they said apparently there is a suit that he does wear, but for some of these shots, they did, like, CG over him. So I'm not completely sure.
I can't even tell that it's CG. It looks definitely like a... Can you tell?
Yeah, I couldn't, so I'm not sure if it's true or not, but... Now, the suit is completely made of vibranium, so obviously he can take those shots from those bullets. Like, those bullets basically just hit, stop, and fall off of him, but...
Can we get a video game like this where you can be Captain America, just jump from one building to another and just...
Yeah, that'd be sick. That's what I'm hoping that Square Enix game is.
What game?
They're making that... Square Enix is making some Avengers game, so we'll see.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Square Enix is always hit or miss, though.
Yeah, we don't know. So as we can see, we started in his apartment, fought outside the buildings, and now we're down running, along the highway here.
Okay, it's not Monster Hunter. You can't just jump from any height.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
I do like the scene a lot, though. And we do see a lot of this kind of action in Black Panther coming up, I'm sure.
Yeah, which made me kind of nervous to see it, because I was like, oh, we've already kind of seen Black Panther chase people down like this. but hopefully this will be good, and it won't be the main action sequence. Now, to film this certain scene, what they did is they actually had the cars moving just like a few miles per hour and had the actors run past them to make it look like they were running, 50 miles per hour, which is pretty cool. And they got a lot of cars from Audi for this. So if you see a bunch of Audi cars, that's why.
Man, I can't think that that's CG. Like, it looks so good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is completely CG for that suit, but...
Well, I mean, this isn't a DC movie either. Like, we can, we've got some solid...
got some good money going into this.
Got some good money going into this. Not that DC doesn't. They just don't know how to do it right. Oh, shade.
Now, I've heard conflicting reports that motorcycle shot was all practically done, where Bucky hops on the motorcycle. I'm not sure if that's true.
Definitely a Legolas moment.
They do make him look like Legolas for sure, and it looks amazing.
I think I remember in like Jimmy and I have this thing when we are in the theater. Well, at least I have this thing where if I see something crazy, I'll nudge you in the rib or in the arm.
Yeah, for sure. Nudges me all the time.
No. Does that drive you crazy, or I love it. That's just me letting you know that I'm excited about what I just saw.
Yeah, man. It's Buddies. Buddies at the movie.
Yep. The name of our new show, folks. Buddies at the movie.
Buddies at the movies.
Oh.
I feel like every movie we have Cap just running from a car doing that. Cap's just like, I'll run it. Little sparks on the ground. It's good. Yeah, I don't know if that suits CG, man. I know that suits CG. A little War Machine action there.
Yeah.
Now it says 003 on the Warhammer suit. Now I'm not sure if that's Mark III for the Warhammer. T'Challa's just like, I've got diplomatic immunity. Yeah, that's got to be a real suit. But it might be different for the fight scenes. That line right there where he says, Your Highness, just like makes me think that I'm like, okay, now I'm like legit watching a comic book movie, Mm-hmm. To have like a king of a country be like a superhero like that is so cool. Do you like Wanda and Vision as a couple, Levi? Now be honest.
I have weird feelings.
What? Please explain these.
I don't know how to explain them. It's a little weird. Because he's what is he? He was made, right? He was built by Ultron, so. Yeah,
but he has the gem, but he's got the AI in him, so he's. I don't know if he's technically like an android.
Well, he's not robotic, right? He is human. Because wasn't he made with like a...
he's got human flesh. He's got it's vibranium in there.
He's got tissue and he's got blood in him.
Yeah, I don't know what technically Vision is. Anyway, but he's not a regular old person.
Jog my memory here. What happened with this? With Ultron creating Vision?
So, they had that chamber.
Yeah.
That could like make human tissue, and Ultron was going to put his consciousness into that, and the tissue was infused with vibranium. So basically, it would be like having our skin or whatever, but it was like all vibranium.
Oh, and then how did Jarvis make his way in?
And they put Jarvis's AI in there eventually because they got it back. So Tony and Banner did that, but they also had the gem. Ultron to put the gem in there as well. So basically, they put Jarvis's AI into this thing instead of Ultron getting the chance to do that. So
where did Ultron get the Infinity Stone from?
He got the stone from Loki's scepter.
Oh yeah,
I believe.
What? It was a yellow Infinity Stone?
It was in a blue encasing thing, and then he opened it up and he had it there.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Was Loki in Age of Ultron? I don't remember.
No, I don't believe so. I like when Vision holds her back here and he starts talking. He sounds like old school Jarvis. Like he's like back to like being AI, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find definitive answers on what Vision would be considered. He's an android. Yep, that's right. Who possesses a synthetic vibranium body. Which makes sense.
What are you calling it right now? That he dies during Infinity War?
I don't know if they're gonna kill him in Infinity War. They might take the gem, but that doesn't necessarily, or the stone, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna die.
No, because he'll still have what he can still. What are his powers right now?
So right now he can do a lot of things. He's got strength, flight. He can go intangible. He's got the laser beam from his stone.
Yep.
But they'll take that away.
Do we see that in this film?
We do see that in this film, and we actually see it to very negative results.
That's right.
That's another cool thing about this movie is that it does progress a lot of storylines. It sets up Infinity War, but it also sets up Black Panther a lot. But it's funny to think they're all just like sitting in basically the back of like a super powerful paddy wagon. Like they're all in trouble, you know?
Yeah.
Now here we get a shot of Bilbo Baggins. Martin Freeman coming up. Whose last name is also Ross, but he isn't necessarily related to Ross we saw earlier, Secretary Ross. So he might be the new Red Hulk, potentially.
What? Martin Freeman?
Yeah, Martin Freeman.
He might be the new Red Hulk?
Potentially, because his last name is Ross, and typically in the comics, like Thunderbolt Ross, Secretary Ross we saw earlier, is usually Red Hulk. But it's just a theory right now. We don't know. Red Hulk might never happen. I want it to happen because I think Red Hulk's a cool character, but...
Where does Red Hulk come from? A serum?
Because
that's where the Hulk came from, right?
So in this world, that's where he came from. But I think in like the comics, Hulk was... he was experimented on by his father as a child, and then a gamma bomb went off and basically set all that off inside of him.
I get it.
I hate that Black Widow is basically like all happy that they got their shield and wings taken away. I'm like, come on, Black Widow. Also, I swear that like they stopped having Robert Downey Jr. do workout stuff.
I think that she's kind of joking though too.
She might be kind of joking, but would you say Robert Downey Jr. in this movie? He's got like these suits on all the time. Looks like he's got a little bit of a belly.
A little bit of belly. I'll take a closer look here.
Also, the box that you see Bucky in, D23, kind of a nod to the D23 Expo that happens every couple of years to celebrate a bunch of Disney stuff.
Yep.
Pretty great.
I think D23 is where they announced Kingdom Hearts 3, isn't it? And a couple others.
I don't know if they announced there, maybe, but I know they definitely announced a lot of stuff there.
If you had asked me a couple years ago how I felt about, phasing Iron Man out, I would have been like, that's crazy, no way. But with just the, resurgence of new characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther and Doctor Strange and, what we've got coming, it feels more time, I guess.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you.
I don't always want to see Iron Man and everything. Do you?
I think if you use him sparingly, I think that's the cool thing about Iron Man is that you could have him show up and you could just have Robert Downey Jr. just do the voice work.
Yeah.
If you really want to. But you're totally right. I think he's still trying to find a good place to leave the Marvel universe, and maybe this will be after Infinity War and the next, Marvel Avengers 4. But unlike Robert Downey Jr., you have Ben Affleck who's trying to do the same thing with all the DC stuff, and he hasn't earned it. I feel like, Downey Jr. here has like set up, the success of all the Marvel stuff, and now he can leave because he's like, well, yep, I set everything up, everything's ready to go, and now I can go.
Yep.
I
put my time in. I put my character's done his thing. Yeah. I mean, because that's really it. I mean, your character has their arc and they finish their story and you move on. Do you feel like, though, when you look at the beginning of Phase 1 into where we're shifting, do you feel like it's going from like a very... Definitely feels like it to me, it's going from a very realistic human and machine fighting to like now we're moving forward, and it's like Doctor Strange and Wanda and Wizard, and like it's more magical, and it's getting to that space now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's getting to that kind of like supernatural.
Yeah, I think it's because that's a harder sell for bigger audiences to do that kind of like magic and mysticism and all of that.
Yeah.
So they started off with stuff that's a little more grounded because that's what people wanted at the time. And once they built off those characters, once people love characters or, actors in certain roles, they will watch, Captain America, go fight a gigantic purple man with magical powers, because you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. So, yeah, they definitely moved into different spaces. And because Guardians of the Galaxy did so well, we're going to see a bigger focus on that space stuff and more comedy, and that's why Thor Ragnarok was a lot like that. So, I don't know. I hope we still keep some of the grounded nature that some of the MCU has laid out. Like, Civil War still kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's definitely shifted quite a bit.
And I mean, I can see it, and I hope that Doctor Strange, I can't wait to see him in Infinity War because I love him. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I hope that makes you want to see another Doctor Strange movie. Because I know you were kind of underwhelmed by the first one.
Oh no, I wouldn't say I was underwhelmed. I just think it was a perfect like Phase 1 formula movie.
Yeah,
and you could say that a little bit about Ant-Man too. Mm-hmm. But I want them to just go off in a completely different direction with that, and those movies are fine to me, but it's just like not even Phase 1 Marvel, but it's like the very first Spider-Man movie. I like that movie, but seeing the character get all the powers can be like a little like kind of slow to me because it kind of has to follow that like is regular person, bad thing happens, has to get new powers, learns
Origin
new powers,
story,
fights bad guy. And that's why I love sequels so much, is because you get to start immediately with that character knowing all that stuff.
Yep.
So, like, in Doctor Strange 2, I'm really hoping they go crazy with it and just be like, yep, he is protecting the world and there's a brand new threat, and maybe Dormammu has also returned, and he has to deal with all that. It's like, maybe Ghost Rider will be part of that, or maybe one of these Avengers will be in there. Like, maybe Spidey will drop by and, like, hang on the window in the first scene and be like, hey, Doctor Strange, what's up? Kind of, like, stuff like that. The integration of the other characters to make it feel like the world is real, that these things are going on at the same time, and they're not so disjointed. That's what's so great about this one, is that unlike the other Captain America movies where Cap probably should have called Iron Man, in Winter Soldier, like, hey, Tony, could you come and help me with this? Like, they're all here for the most part, which is great. There's no reason for them not to be. So, yeah, I would say I was underwhelmed by the first Doctor Strange. It's like your typical like origin story, and I can't wait to see where they go with it. And I really like Benedict Cumberbatch. That they have a pretty good cast in that movie. I think they kind of underutilized Mads Mikkelsen, but I do like that movie. And I'm excited to see him. Caecilius, the bad guy.
Oh, the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's dead now, right? I don't remember.
Yes, he like went off into the dark dimension.
Yeah,
whatever.
Oh, he did.
And Dormammu was kind of weird. I like regular old school Dormammu, but
yeah,
no, I'm excited to see where they go with that.
Yeah, I just think that the magic is really cool, and the way that I was so nervous. I was like, how the flip are they going to make this work in a movie? But gotta give it to Marvel. Of course, they know how to make magic work, and
well, that's the great thing about Marvel, is that they've worked up to that point. And now we're, as bigger movie-going audiences, we're okay with accepting that we don't know like the upper limits of some of these characters. But that's also the hard thing too, is that you have somebody like Doctor Strange, and you're like, well, how do you beat a guy who can like do all this crazy magic? With the Iron Man, you'd be like, okay, he runs out of battery power. You know, Captain Rogers, like, you know, he'll go down eventually if you keep like stabbing him or you shoot him and blow him up. But we'll see how they kind of level off Doctor Strange, you know, in these coming up in these movies. But I'm excited, man, because he's got a lot of room to grow, and he barely used all of his good magic like at all in that first movie. Like, there's so much he can do. And they probably signed on Cumberbatch for another 35 years, so.
It's so funny that Hydra still has a hand in, like, in this, like.
Yeah, Hydra's still being felt throughout the world. Which is cool, because I kind of want Hydra to stick around. I kind of like having, like, a big, you know, agency to go up against, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that other stuff. And I do watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's not the best show on the planet, but it's not bad. You know, it's cool to see that Hydra still has, an influence there.
Yeah, I'm hoping we never see, like, those... Not that they're not good characters in their own rights, but I don't really want to see those characters ever break out of that format. I'm not a big fan of, like, Iron Fist or...
Sure, I was gonna say, you don't want you don't want Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. They could shoot to them in Infinity War, you know, for like a second of them fighting on the street. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about their abilities, you know.
Apparently, Daredevil's got a decent like one-liner that he says in the Civil War comic, and Jesse Cox, who plays him, wanted to be in this movie, but he was like, I was just a little too late. They couldn't get me in. But Phil Coulson might be the only one, Levi, that we would see return in one of these movies, because, you know, he started off back in the old Phase 1 stuff.
I guess I wouldn't mind Daredevil, because he's already had an established place in a movie before. But what would he do? You know, he would just attack people, I guess. Yeah,
that's the problem with the street level kind of folks, which we have maybe one or two, you could say, in Avengers here, but...
Yeah.
It might be hard for them to play ball.
I like how you say that, street level folks, because that's what I think of, you know, because you think of, like, Luke Cage and the Punisher, and that's what they are. And the Punisher, has that been out already?
Punisher's been out.
With the dude from Walking Dead?
John Bernthal, yeah.
Did you like that?
For anybody watching this, I'll do me a favor, do yourself a favor, watch, like, episode 10, 11, and 12, and that's it, because the rest of it's just... It's only okay.
Like a setup?
Honestly.
So you're itching for season 2. So
yeah, I want more like straight up Punisher, because he started to get to that at the end, and that was the cool stuff. But the rest of it's just like talking and veterans. Like one veteran goes crazy with PTSD, and it's just And that isn't a problem.
Have you watched Defenders at all? Like, have you watched?
I have the Defenders. Yeah, I did a review of it actually.
You did, okay.
Yeah, it's underwhelming. Honestly.
And Jimmy, who's our defenders? It's Iron Fist, Luke Cage.
Yep. Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil.
Daredevil, okay.
Yeah. The coolest thing about that show was like them talking to each other, because they're a funny group, but except Iron Fist is kind of whiny.
What is Jessica Jones? What's her power? What does she do?
Super strength and minimal flight capabilities with how she can jump so high. By the way, I just love watching Bucky tear through everybody here. A cool thing that we see earlier on is that Cap can't take that punch from Bucky. He, like, holds it, but then later on you see Spidey grab that same punch with one hand, and it's like, oh, cool, you have a metal arm. Yeah. Like, it's tough. Remember that ring thing I told you about?
Yep.
Here it comes. Like, how fast is he? He caught up to him, like, upstairs? Ah, jeez. Yeah, here's the ring thing. It's like, what? But anyway, those are the Defenders.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I got distracted by the action. She's what kind of powers does she have?
She's got super strength, and she's got like minimal flight capabilities because she can jump so high.
How does she have super strength? From what?
I forget if they were like... I don't remember if she was born with it or if it was like experiments.
And what's her deal? Where'd she come from? I'm kind of interested in like that character.
I don't remember much of her backstory, to be honest with you. I don't know if she was like an enhanced and she just had those powers.
I just get so confused with like Agent Carter and Jessica Jones, you know.
Sure, and I still haven't watched Agent Carter. I should watch both those seasons because it's all MCU.
I have heard that Agent Carter is good, so
yeah.
But Yeah, gotta love that Black Panther action. And Cap's girl, that's Peggy Carter's daughter, right?
Her niece.
Her niece, right? And did you see that move that she just did with the flip, like the flips and stuff?
Yeah, she's good.
It's like, girl, where did you? Because she's part of Shield, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or she was before Shield went down.
We just need to see more strong female leads like that, and that's why I can't wait to see Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I'm hoping Captain Marvel's really good.
I want to see an actual super powerful, female lead that's got abilities and stuff to use, like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and Scarlet Witch kind of has that, but she doesn't. It's not enough.
It's not enough, and I don't think that they execute it correctly.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Cap, holding the helicopter back with that bicep curl.
Yep.
Apparently, he hurt himself pretty badly, kind of doing that. But he basically, Chris Evans said, it was just kind of just to show off the bicep, But he's like, that's all me.
The holding it back impressive. With the bicep curl.
Or just he holding the helicopter back. He's kind of gripping both. And
how did he hurt himself doing that?
Apparently, because they he was actually doing his best to keep I don't know if it was an actual helicopter they did use right there in that sequence, but he did have to kind of really extend and really try to curl and make it look good, show off his strength. By the way, kind of a nice parallel to Winter Soldier, where now Cap is pulling Bucky out of the river.
Yep.
By the way, the voice on the end of that phone call apparently is one of the Russo's wives, actually.
Oh.
So, kind of fun little behind the scenes there. Remember, this was at the end of Ant-Man, Levi, this scene where we have Bucky and we see him in a vice grip. I remember thinking, what were they alluding to? Because, we have Falcon here say, I know a guy. And you're like, what? What is he talking
really?
about?
This is at the end of Ant-Man?
Yeah, they show this little bit.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. It was really cool, because I remember seeing it thinking, Civil War is so cool.
Oh, and you're like, what the hell does this have to do with Ant-Man? Yeah.
Well, they just use an end credit scene, or one of those mid-credit scenes or something. I think it was end credit. Between Cap, Bucky, and Falcon, which one do you like the best, Levi?
Say that again?
Cap, Bucky, and Falcon. Who's your favorite?
It's hard to compare the three, because they're not on the same level.
You must. Who's your favorite?
Okay.
It doesn't matter if they're on the same level.
I like Bucky more than I like Captain America.
Oh.
I'll compare those two, but I'd feel more comfortable, like I said, comparing War Machine and Falcon.
Yeah, they're both the sidekicks.
Yeah, and I pick Falcon because I like his acrobatics a lot more.
Yeah. See, I think if I went from lowest to highest, I'd say it goes Falcon, Bucky, Cap. There's something just so cool I like about Cap. I know he's kind of a Boy Scout, but in this movie he kind of breaks from that. And I just still love.
I think that's why I don't choose Cap, because he is a Boy Scout. I like Bucky's past and his.
But he learns, and he's willing to make sacrifices to save the day.
Yeah.
Especially in that first Avenger, that movie's, his first movie is so great. I love him so much in that movie because he's using guns and stuff too. He's killing Nazis, and it's great. By the way, these people you see here, these super soldiers from Russia, are actually, a lot of these guys are the stunt doubles for the other Avengers. So the woman you see there is actually Black Widow's stunt double, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool to have them get time in the spotlight when they wouldn't otherwise, which is great.
This is also how Halo was.
Oh, yeah, was this a Spartan program?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Halo has a overwhelmingly deep and kind of cool lore about it.
Oh, absolutely. The Fall of Reach, I'm getting sidetracked here, but the Fall of Reach could have been such a better Halo game than what it was, because that book is phenomenal. So.
What you mean, Reach? I thought Fall of Reach was the movie. And
Fall of Reach is the book, and Reach was the Halo game. But I mean,
yeah,
that game could have been so much better had they done that story. Well, no, I don't know how in a Halo game you were supposed to show like a, you know, kidnapping and everything like that.
Oh, they had that in that. That's cool. Interesting.
Ooh.
I like the threat that these super soldiers possess or kind of present, that like they could destroy a country in like an entire night. But we don't really see that happen, but we see that Hydra, not only kind of German, but then kind of over to Russia and kind of throughout the world, and how powerful Hydra was becoming, and how they kind of like a few of their big ideas just never took off, you know. Oh, by the way, another fun little Easter egg you can kind of see here. Maybe not an Easter egg, but in Spider-Man Homecoming, you see that there's a bruise on Tony Stark's eye when he drops Peter Parker off, and that's the same bruise that he got from deflecting that bullet with his glasses or whatever from that gunshot from Bucky, which is really, really cool.
I thought it had something to do with Steve punching him.
No, because this is just, he's got the bruise now that you can see underneath like his right eye.
I like this actor here. He's the same dad from the Village.
Oh yeah, I think John Hurt.
Yeah,
I think is his name, or William Hurt.
Oh, I wish more people liked that movie.
I know you love The Village, man.
I do. I don't like the twist, but I love how they set it up, and I love the beginning. Now, fight anyone on this. Bryce Dallas Howard is so good in that movie.
BDH.
Let's get her in a Marvel film.
Sorry, John Hurt is the guy from other stuff. That's not John Hurt. I think it's William Hurt. I was getting confused.
It's not the same actor I'm thinking of?
No, you're thinking of the right actor.
Oh, okay.
Yep, William Hurt. There we go.
She doesn't even know where Hulk is.
One of my biggest complaints with this movie, if you even call it a complaint, like, it's cool that, like, we get Peter Parker, we get Spider-Man. He does feel really shoehorned in, and it doesn't make a lot of sense that, like, Tony decides to pick up, like, a 15-year-old kid and bring him to Germany to punch a bunch of people. Like, that seems really weird to me.
I think that he was... The way I look at it, like, he needed to get him started somehow. So he's like, what a better way, I'm grooming this kid. Let's get it started now,
Maybe, yeah.
And this is our first look at Peter Parker, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think of Tom Holland as Peter Parker? I know we've talked about this before, but just for viewers who might not have heard.
Well, next week the viewers might have to listen in on our Spider-Man Homecoming commentary.
Yeah, you totally need to do that. I want to watch that movie again.
I think that we've got a great Peter Parker and a great Spider-Man here. Yeah. And I think that's, agree. That's what everybody's problem has always been, is they haven't been the best character in both fashions. Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, but not a great Spider-Man, I don't think. Yeah. He was okay.
The problem is they didn't really write for Spider-Man. Like, they didn't have him talking constantly when he fought people. Yeah. Like, that's a big Spidey thing. But he kind of captures that kind of Tobey Maguire, like, kind of innocence, but he's a little more happy, which is great.
Yep.
Could you even imagine, just like even at our age, but especially like when you're just like in high school, if like the most famous person on the planet who was like also a very well-known superhero just like came to your house and was like, hey, we should talk for a bit.
Yeah.
What a creep. How did you figure this out, Tony? He's just analyzing these Spider-Man videos late at night. He's just like looking at him. He's like, I'll figure this out. It would have been much stranger if he would have moved that attic like crawl space and nothing fell out, and he's just kind of poking around his room. But
Spiderling.
yeah. Another thing that I think that this incarnation Tom Holland portrays really well, Peter Parker, is like the regular man. Tobey Maguire, kind of more in that boat where with like Living with Aunt May and all of that, but I never got that vibe so much from Andrew Garfield's character. Like he was just kind of too cool and there was never a problem. But, kind of him saying like, hey, Mr. Stark, it was a good day. I found like an old DVD player and all this stuff. Like, yeah, he's just like a regular dude just trying to live and just kind of doesn't really have any money.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Spider-Man Homecoming, budget of $175 million. What do you think it ended up with? What's your guess?
Oh, is it like 800 million?
880 million.
Yeah.
Such a return of investment. Like,
yeah.
Which makes me happy that, because that just means we're going to get a sequel. So.
Oh, for sure. Well, they knew that was going to happen anyway. And that's going to be part of MCU. That's going to be the first movie after the second or the fourth Avengers, what was supposed to be Infinity War Part 2. But they said, like, apparently to set up the next phase of all the Marvel stuff, like Phase 5 or whatever they're going to do, that the best person to kind of walk you into that new era was going to be Peter Parker. Because a lot like him, we're going to be like brought into this brand new thing that's crazy and new. And, it might just be the easiest thing for audiences to kind of stomach, as far as like a first movie after all the events of that. So, how do you think, like, how likely do you think are the chances that the movie is going to be like Sinister Six? Like, so Sony's been pushing for that for a long time. Do you think there's a chance that the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming will be Spidey versus the Sinister Six? Like, is that too much? Like 6 separate villains, like...
I hope not. Because we've seen that before in a Spider-Man film. It didn't really pay off.
The problem was they kind of did it like one after the other, though. Whereas like the Sinister Six would work as like a group together to try to kill
Is
Spider-Man.
he going to have help with that? Seems a little unfair.
The thought would be maybe like Vulture could maybe help him, or maybe another Avenger could help him. But yeah, you're right. But it kind of like... Spidey is so powerful, like it's kind of cool to have him go up against 6 villains,
Yeah, but he's
fight
not
them all.
Powerful yet, he's still...
Yeah, he's working on it.
He's working on it, yeah. Do we have rights to a Spider-Man sequel?
So MCU had him signed on for, I believe, 4 films. I think it was.
You think they could extend that?
If they make enough money, Sony probably will. We'll see what happens with the whole like Venom standalone. But it was like Homecoming, Civil War, and both the Avengers movies, or at least the first for like Avengers Infinity War, and I'm not sure if it was like the second Homecoming movie. So the introduction, by the way, of Hawkeye in this movie is pretty good. I think the use of him is just about perfect, like just enough.
Yep.
Oh, Mr. Popular over there. You getting some texts, huh? Is this MCU? They sending you some messages?
Jimmy, I'll be right back.
All right. Abandon me twice in one commentary.
I know. I'm sorry. Be right back.
Well, you try, guys. You try and try. That's all right. Commentary keeps rolling. It's great to see Hawkeye kind of fight and have the advantage for just like half a second. But then how clearly outmatched he is. That's what I love about Hawkeye. It's not that he can outdo people. He just is outthinking people. And she's overpowered. That's Scarlet Witch, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm missing all the good stuff.
Yeah, man. Welcome back.
You could consider me popular. The fun thing about doing a commentary is it's live, folks. That means live things happen.
That's Bald Lady with him, part of the Dora Milaje. Some of his special guard there, which is great. You can see plenty of them in Black Panther.
Yep.
I just think every scene that Chadwick Boseman is in, he just kind of just draws my attention. He's just so cool. I'm just like, yep.
And what was her name? She's in a large part of Black Panther, isn't she?
So I don't know who the specific character is, but she's part of like the Dora Milaje, which is like part of his secret kind of guard or special guard, not secret guard, but bodyguards and stuff.
Gosh, I know her name, but it starts like with it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll know all these names.
Is she the one that says "Don't freeze"?
No, I don't think so.
Or is that his like wife or his sister or whatever?
I'm not. I don't think it's.
I guess we'll find out.
It might be his mom. I don't know.
Don't freeze.
Chris Evans, getting to live my dream. You need to just do all this stuff, and then he gets to kiss her on top of it. It's like, come on, man. They're paying you to do this. I also love the kind of friendship that Bucky and Falcon kind of get here. They're just like, yeah, man. Levi, here comes your favorite character in the whole film.
Who?
You'll see. He's a funny man.
Oh, boy. Yeah, man. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. You know, we talked about the Ant-Man on our last podcast, and I don't hate Ant-Man. I like
Ant-Man.
I really enjoyed the first one. I was actually very surprised because I remember we went into it being like how he's just sleeping.
Yeah. Do you think that they told Ant-Man, or I should say Scott Lang, that he is basically going to be considered a terrorist, you know? I remember seeing that scene in Ant-Man after, seeing Ultron, and I liked watching him fight Falcon, because it was like when they shot, and they're like, oh, it's like a warehouse upstate New York, blah, 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 and then you find out like where the Avengers have their new base of operations. I was just like, oh, this is so cool. It kind of legitimizes, this movie, like when in the timeline and everything, and it's great.
Yeah.
Now, I still posit that this scene alone here at the airport is probably worth the admission.
Oh, yeah.
Alone,
Absolutely.
It's insane. Every time I watch it, I do notice something new. I'm like, what?
Yep.
I will say this, though. I think Iron Man and Warhammer... Now you got me saying Warhammer. Dang it, Levi. War Machine's suits, they look a little weird. Like, I don't know. Like a little strange.
They look fine to me. They look like average.
Maybe it's just because Tony's too shiny?
With the evolution of... the evolution of Tony Stark's armor, like his ribs look weird. Like the belly plate
Yeah.
doesn't look as good as it did before. You know,
Yeah.
I like the more Halo looking Iron Man suit from before.
Sure. I like how at first it makes it look like Cap is just like all by himself. It's just like everybody's going for him. Ah, the money shot. Okay, get that Spidey.
Still paying his respects.
Yep. He's a nice boy. I like that you could see Tony, like, he's, like, haggard, and he's kind of going crazy. He's, like, trying to make it work. He's like, please.
Oh.
Yeah, this fight starts to get out of hand so quickly.
Oh, I love Black Panther. His moves,
Yeah, Black Panther's fighting style.
his moves are just so cool.
Yeah, they're different than what we've seen, you know?
Yeah, because what he makes up in what he makes up in, you know, like weapons and stuff, he definitely makes up in choreography and
Oh,
his
yeah, when he
fighting
lacks in the
style.
weapons. But we're going to see more of those weapons, I think, later on. There we go, seeing Spidey kind of grab that punch and show off that, like, he's
That's super
actually
strength.
probably stronger than Cap. Yeah.
Ooh.
Just like a little one-liner there from Hawkeye, and it's great. It's just well done. Sometimes when I watch this scene and I see like Spider-Man fighting Falcon and Bucky, you know, it just
Multiple
like
contusions.
yeah, the multiple contusions attack, that's good. But watching Spidey fight, it's just so cool to watch Spidey be in this universe.
Yeah.
It's like, this is nice.
Well, this is his universe, you know?
Yeah, but we just haven't seen him like in this type of role yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the Spider-Man that, you know, that we miss from Tobey Maguire. And
Yeah, well, he's just kind of happy, and like he's strong enough that like none of these people are really trying to kill him. You know, like no one's trying to really hurt anybody here. So yeah, this is just a fun fight scene.
Did what it was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, there aren't as many characters in this than there are in the actual comic of Civil War, but the fact that we have, like, 10 is still pretty good.
This was their warm-up for Infinity War. This is like, okay, we're going to see what it's like for us to jam it, jam it all in here, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, totally. Which is good because I've been hearing things like they're trying to get like 40 of these guys on screen at the same time, and it's just like, oh gosh, like what an undertaking Infinity War must be. Even after this is, you're totally right, it is the warm-up, it is like the pre-game,
I'm not in love with Ant-Man's helmet.
You're not in love with it?
No.
I don't mind it.
What I was saying earlier, sorry, we went into Ant-Man thinking, God, you always wonder how's Marvel going to pull it off, and they always do. So I don't get nervous about any Marvel film anymore, but, because if they can make Ant-Man and Doctor Strange work, they can make anything work, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of like the make it or break it films, really. Oh, Guardians, once they did that, it was kind of like, well, guess I can do whatever.
Oh yeah, when you first told me about Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, there's a raccoon with a rocket launcher and a talking tree. Like, what? Yeah. Why are they fighting?
Because they have to.
Whose side is who on?
Oh, like Black Widow's on Iron Man's side and Hawkeye's on Cap's side.
Oh.
Scarlet Witch completely saves Bucky from being murdered by Black Panther. It's like so close.
Who did murder his father?
Zemo.
Oh yeah. By controlling Winter Soldier, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, he blew him up, remember, with the bomb?
Yeah.
He didn't control him, not yet. This fight between Cap and Spidey is super good.
But I think Cap's a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they're trying to show off, is that Spidey, once he becomes more seasoned, might be able to fight him. But right now, he just, Cap's going to win. And even Iron Man says that in Homecoming. He's like, if Cap wanted to lay you out, he could have, I think one of the reasons I like Ant-Man so much is because of this fight scene.
Yep.
He's a lot of fun moments, and he kind of steals the show in a lot of ways.
Well, that's what made Ant-Man so cool in his own movie, was where he could fit into those places and make an actual difference in the smaller world, smaller shape of things.
Well, just so different than anything we've seen yet, too. Kind of maybe that's why Doctor Strange, you like him a lot, too, is we're kind of seeing things that are like, whoa, this is crazy and new, and that's fun.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I want to see a better trailer than what we got.
Sure, yeah. I love it. Just little lines here and there.
See, if you were to go big right now, he would just destroy him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's how it would work, but you'd think that if he went big in the suit right there, it would break off a piece of the suit. But I'm not sure. So one of the reasons I think Cap got this team together is because he wanted to have a lot of people to go and fight those other super soldiers that Zemo was putting together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this moment, I forgot that he was gonna do this, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool.
Because this is like his signature from the comics, right?
Yeah. And apparently, the Russos were saying that they needed to kind of have a moment that was, a distraction for the team to get to the Quinjet. And this is like a really good one because obviously if like a gigantic person shows up that you didn't expect to do that, like that's something you're not ready for. And it kind of puts the MCU in a different place than it's ever been before with like a threat that's like this big, like a tall, combatant.
Gosh, and with a little bit more training, Ant-Man could do so much better. I think he's just getting used to the whole superhero thing, but...
Yep. See, like right there, Falcon shot that thing, Red Wing, at Iron Man, and I didn't notice that Iron Man shoots a net off to drop him, but he misses the net, and the net goes flying off. Yeah, it's so good.
I wonder if that hurts when you're that big.
Yeah, I don't know.
What it feels like.
Good question. Yeah, Ant-Man is a pretty significant threat, And he doesn't even use any of his ants, like in this movie, which that is another factor.
Yeah.
A lot of good moments, like Vision flying through Ant-Man and all that stuff. It's like, just enough comedy. Just enough.
What is that?
What is what?
The screaming thing.
So that's like a sonic, like, emitter thing. Just kind of like a non-lethal takedown. Referencing a Star Wars film in a Marvel movie that are both owned by Disney is just like, yep, there you go. Yeah, what a great fight scene. Still, I think one of the best superhero fight scenes of all time. I don't know, Levi, do you have any that come close?
No, I mean, we'll see it soon, but
yeah. Now think of adding Doctor Strange to that fight, Levi.
what's with the orange slices? I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, he needs it for his energy, Yeah, I'm not sure what Black Widow's like little energy darts she shoots into him are made of, because I'm like, how does that even work?
Yeah.
But
oh, come on, BP. Oh, he's pissed.
yeah, some pretty weird green screen behind them for like all the wreckage, but I guess it makes sense. Oh, remember, Levi, you were asking about that laser, if he ever uses that laser on Vision. You're about to see it.
Vision's on which side?
He's on Iron Man's side.
Yeah. Does he obey Iron Man?
Not so much anymore. Like, he basically does everything that Iron Man wants him to do, but I think Vision has a mind of his own. Now, you'd think that Iron Man would have put, like, a failsafe parachute into the suits now, after he's fallen himself from great heights, but I don't know. Apparently has not learned that lesson. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah, such a brutal hit. I remember seeing this for like a little bit of the trailer that I would see, because I tried to prevent myself from seeing any of the trailers to this, but seeing kind of Tony Stark hovering over a knocked out Rhodey on the ground like that, yeah, it's like, oh man, this movie's stuff's going down.
It's gonna go there. Like Degrassi, we go there.
Apparently, Rhodey's not going to be out though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He'll work forward, and plus he could fly around in those suits. He doesn't necessarily need his legs, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know going into this third act, I kind of thought that they were going to bring out the super soldiers, but the problem is you can't really top that last fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, How are you going to top that? There's no way to do that.
You don't.
So I think making it more emotional is a good choice, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Donald Glover plays Ultimate Prowler, is the name of that character he plays in what's his name? It's Homecoming. So funny.
Oh, really? Technically, I think he's supposed to be the uncle to Miles Morales, who, if you're familiar with, is another Spider-Man character that people really like and hope to see down the line. And I'm sure Marvel's got that in the works, but
yeah,
you kind of have to do Peter Parker for a while.
And he's also, let's see, he also worked on Black Panther too as well. It doesn't say I don't think he played someone, but I think he helped with like the script or whatever.
Donald Glover did?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he would help with him.
Yeah, it says why Steven and Donald Glover were thanked in the credits of Black Panther. And then there's another one that says how Donald Glover worked on Black Panther's, how he worked on the Black Panther.
Oh.
He's got a lot of hand in a lot of stuff nowadays. I mean, he just won a couple Grammys for his music. He just, he's going to be in Han Solo as Lando. Great casting choice. I thought he was a little shoehorned in Homecoming. But what else was... I guess they didn't really give him much else to do, so...
Yeah, that's true. He's just kind of there to facilitate a few scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. No, he's pretty popular right now.
Mm-hmm. And I never watched, a lot of Community, so I don't know how good he was in Community, so...
Yeah, I watched it for a while. He's pretty funny. I was never a super huge fan of his, but I think a lot of people really enjoy his work, so makes sense. Kind of reminds me of another character or person. His name is Ben Mendelsohn. He was the bad guy from Rogue One, and he's also going to be, I think, one of the main villains in Captain Marvel. It's like another person who's kind of moving around the Disney franchises, kind of just hitting everything up. And it's like, yeah, if I could be in Star Wars and Marvel, for sure. Yeah, yeah. It's just good career choices, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, Dr. Theo Brizard, the guy that dies there, is actually, I think, Joe Russo, one of the directors in this film.
Really?
And not one of the first times we've seen a Russo in the movies. I think one of them played one of the doctors in Winter Soldier, who was helping almost dead Captain or Nick Fury come back from the dead. So
yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see a Nick Fury again.
yeah, we are. I think he's going to be in Captain Marvel, confirmed. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in Infinity War. Show up for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I also like how this movie starts to really embrace a lot of the comic book stuff, like having a super prison that's like out in the middle of the ocean. Like we haven't really seen that kind of crazy stuff yet, and like to get a little bit of it is pretty cool. I think just a taste.
What the heck is this? Did you know that there was a Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie?
Yes, that's the Hasselhoff one. I'm sorry, I said that. That's Hasselhoff. He wasn't in Captain America. Yeah, he was Nick Fury. That's what it was.
I've never heard of this movie in my life.
Should we find this movie, Levi, and watch it?
Oh, I'm just looking at pictures right now. Oh boy.
Isn't it crazy
lots
that
of leather.
they've tried to do these types of movies in the past, and now it's finally like working as a whole thing, you know?
1998. God, what was that even related to? I don't even know.
The Hoff, man. Zemo, your crazy plan. You crazy.
Just looking up on IMDb, like, some of these old school movies is ridiculous. Like, Spider-Man, The Dragon's Challenge. What is this? Oh, boy.
It just goes to show that you put Spider-Man in front of anything, and it'll probably sell something.
And that also had... Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, Marvel, you've come
Eventual
so
commentaries.
long.
Eventual commentaries for us, Levi. Get excited. I don't know if I'd ever trust a fully automated helicopter like Tony does. He's like, yeah, it's just my fully automated helicopter. It's totally fine.
Well, if you build it,
I wouldn't trust even if I built it.
Really?
Yeah. Especially if I built it. So, like, from the aspect and standpoint of, like, just regular people around the world, are the Avengers, like, superheroes? Because some people are like, yeah, the Avengers are great after, like, the first film. But now, ever since then, it almost seems, in some ways, that they might be seen as terrorists, depending.
Yeah, it depends on who
seen.
You're asking.
Yeah.
Obviously, people are going to be affected by things that happen, but... I mean, they do, like they say, they do more harm than good.
Yeah. So, here's the other thing. If the raft exists, it also kind of lends itself to saying, yeah, there are other super crazy villains that potentially have been here or are here on the raft right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know, like, which characters that would be right now, because I'm not super versed in, like, the rogues gallery of all these characters, whereas, like, Spider-Man and Batman, I could make guesses, but here it's like, I don't know who could be on the raft. But it's interesting. I also like that Tony has not met Scott Lang, so Scott Lang's got all this kind of hatred, animosity built up to him because of Hank Pym, the Starks, but Tony's like, I don't know who you are. Who are you?
Who are you?
See, this just goes to show, Levi, that if they would have talked out their problems and differences, that they could have figured all this stuff out together, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The makeup for the bruises that they do is actually pretty good.
On point.
It's very good. Like, looking at them,
the
like...
puffiness and everything, yeah.
Yeah, did they punch those guys? Like, especially on Tony. I'm like, wow, that's pretty dang good. This line about the line blinking does come back into play, which is pretty great. Or the light blinking is like,
Yep.
It's a good thing he's got the drone helicopter, because I don't know if a lot of pilots would want to fly through that. Helicopter pilots, they'd be like, it's kind of raining too much. No thank you.
Yeah, I do like that base out there. Who's
Yeah,
that?
it's really
Who does
cool
that
to
belong
raft.
to? Shield? Well, not Shield.
It's like a government.
Yeah.
They have the raft, and there's like two more. I think one's called like the Cube, or something like that. There's a few different ones, and they're kind of for specific villains.
Is there another group called the Sword?
So yeah, Sword is basically Shield in space, and that's like where Captain Marvel kind of comes into play.
Okay.
By the way, seeing like Black Panther's like Batwing, basically like his own his own like aircraft. It's like, oh man, he does have considerable resources.
Yeah, I just wish he did more in this final little arc of the movie. But...
Yeah, he doesn't get to do too much, but it's not his movie, you know. This is just the setup for what we're gonna see here soon. I love these little moments, you know, especially between Bucky and Steve, kind of reaffirming that they are best friends, you know, lost to time, but they still have these shared memories of growing up together, kind of like, you know, any good friends would have. They just happen to be super powered.
And Bucky was frozen as well, right?
Yeah, you'd see in the very beginning they kind of freeze him on and off, you know, depending on when they needed him. They'd wake him back up.
It's just interesting that he got unfrozen and, you know, is now the same.
Yeah. Which
cat.
that story that they alluded to in Winter Soldier where, you know, Black Widow said she got shot like in the side. You know, I would love to see that, actually, like see Winter Soldier attack her back in the day and have her not know. The gun that he's packing with that huge magazine is like so like perfect for Winter Soldier. I'm like, yep. And although this movie is like over the top, I do like this intimate feel to this last kind of confrontation. It's great. So right now, Levi, where are you standing? Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
Team Cap.
Team Cap, yeah.
I think Iron Man's being a little too much.
I think that's the problem. Like, trying to make them both seem like they have good points is that, like, they make Tony look like he's losing his mind. You know?
Yeah.
I just love that you have Black Panther, who is in this bit, but not so much. He's just like prowling around, following them, and none of them know he's there. You know, he's just kind of like checking it out. This set, by the way, we don't talk about this a lot, and they don't always show this off, but like the set design in these movies is usually very good, and this is like a really pretty cool set, you know?
Yeah.
They have like these big tubes and stuff, and it's like a pretty large area.
It's depressing.
Yeah. But it's cool, the expectation subversion here, where takes all out the super soldiers. Just like, yep, nope, not gonna be a problem. I think Zemo's a fascinating and interesting villain, even though he doesn't really bring a lot to the table at all for like powers or anything yet. But I think him being in this world is cool, and I do want to see where they take him eventually. That's the hope, anyway. How do you feel about Cap's chin strap, Levi?
It bugs me.
It bugs you?
Yeah.
Does it bug you? It bugs me a little bit too, but I get why it's there. You know?
Yeah, I do too. I don't remember that chin strap being that prominent in the other ones. Do you?
It depends on the film. Like, some of them aren't as prominent. Some of them are kind of, like, not really there.
I think it's funny how they've always tinkered with his suit a lot.
Yeah, they can never seem to, like, really land on one that they love the most, but...
Same with Iron Man.
Yeah, but Iron Man makes more sense because he's, like, always, like, neurotically making new ones. Now, this scene, I think, makes a lot of sense because Tony's been having a hard time throughout this entire movie. Pepper Potts has left him, or they broke up, and he's... The Avengers, he can't keep that together. And finally, kind of learning that the Winter Soldier is the one responsible for killing his parents, kind of takes all the Sokovia Accords and all the stuff that he's been trying to make work, it just throws it out the window. And I completely understand that. Like, if I thought, like he says, you know, coming up here, like, you know, he killed my mom, you know, like, I can't say that I wouldn't feel the same thing if I saw a video like this. I'd be like, what? You know? So... Yeah, it's brutal.
Oh.
Yeah, those hits to the face, just like, ah. Such a poignant moment. And he also chokes her out with his just regular hand, too. It's just like, ugh.
It's brutal. You can just see it all fall apart.
I think it's a testament to Robert Downey Jr.'s acting ability, and Chris Evans too. But like, just like how well he plays this, because we're so used to seeing the cocky, arrogant Tony Stark, and kind of has it together. I mean, he has problems drinking and stuff, or like dying in that one movie. But this is just like a new level of just like emotional concern, and I love it. I'll tell you this right now, though, Levi. If I could have that Iron Man suit, I would. I'd love that thing. I'd love it so much.
See, in the Iron Man we see in Homecoming is already like moved on from this state of emotion, though, which is funny.
I think this is kind of him just getting it out of his system, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's okay with what's happened, but I think this is just like his reaction to it in the moment.
Well, yeah, because you don't see him as crazy about the whole initiative.
Yeah, I think he also puts on that face a lot more for Peter. You know, he doesn't want to show.
Yeah,
like he's doing other things in the world. They obviously show him living his life, but I'm sure if they were doing Iron Man 4, he'd be thinking about this. Mm-hmm. You know, he'd be like, oh my gosh. I also love how they chip away at the Iron Man armor. Like, that's the only way you'd be able to stop him. It's like, kind of like, destroy a booster and, kind of try to ruin his, every bit and every weapon that he's got.
I love that. Tony and his lasers.
Yeah, the red laser is so cool. I love it so much.
Gosh, I wish he would utilize that more.
Well, he can't use it much because it, like, burns. Like, he can only use it, like, a few times. Yeah, or it burns the power and has, like, charges. But the first time you see that in Iron Man 2 is so cool. I remember seeing that thing, like, wow. You know what Capsule Grapple Hook reminds me of? Reminds me of, like, Qui-Gon's, or Obi-Wan's,
yeah. Something we never really see again from a Jedi.
Yeah, they only use these types of things, like, once or twice, I mean, you see him a few times in Star Wars, maybe, but not often. Yeah, I still really like this fight scene.
How funny would it be if, like, at the end of all the Marvel movies, when they're finally done, they're like, it goes right into, like, episode 1 of Star Wars or something like that, like, and this is in the future.
Well, remember, it's same, or it's a galaxy far, far away, right? Yep. But it was a long time ago, so I don't know if that would work, but maybe.
It'd be funny.
They'll go through a wormhole with the Infinity Stones.
Yep.
That'll be fun. I don't care. He killed my mom.
With,
great. Bring back Qui-Gon with an Infinity Stone.
Yep.
Or the Gauntlet.
He didn't care about his dad, but
no. The tag team, so good.
The bounce. There it is.
I just love how, like, gritty this fight gets.
Yep.
It's just like...
It needed to be, or people would have been pissed that it was too safe.
Yeah. See, right there, though, it tells me... Oh, and I love that shot from, like, the comic title there, but Iron Man shoots Winter Soldier in the back there. He could have killed him with a shot like that, to the back of the head, but he doesn't do it, Like, at least I don't think he does. Like, he maybe on purpose doesn't, but... I feel like that snow here is so fake, because Levi, we're from a place where it's cold and there's snow. Like, I don't... Where he puts the mask in the snow, I'm like, what kind of snow is that?
Would never work like that.
Sand snow? Maybe then. Maybe I'm crazy. Let us know. I do like hearing Zemo's kind of story here at the end, even, and kind of saying, I was never going to try to kill the Avengers personally. There's no point. I couldn't do it. Yeah, that suit Black Panther has, that's obviously not CGI, but, like, I like that kind of necklace he has almost built into it around,
I'm digging it.
All vibranium.
See, I like this. It shows that Zemo's not a completely psychotic man,
Yeah, he has a purpose for it. And I also like that Black Panther here has learned a lot, too. It's like he was kind of vengeful in this moment, which I don't think he normally is. But he learned from this. But that Zemo is still going to be in the world is really cool. I like this too because like you can compare Iron Man to Batman, but like
I'm sorry, I just realized that scene again, or that voice line. The living are not done with you yet. Oh, I'm gonna love that.
Like Iron Man, he wasn't prepared to ever fight Cap, whereas
No.
like Batman would have already programmed in everybody's fight patterns and stuff. And
why would he ever think about it? You know?
Yeah, he wouldn't think like that, which is great.
Oof.
Such a brutal scene. It's so great. I could do this all day. That classic line that Cap likes to say. When Cap is hitting Iron Man here with the shield, I always feel like he's cracking open like a nut. You know, like he's like just hitting and he's just like, I will open this suit.
You think for a sec he was gonna go for the real deal?
I don't know. I think he's in that fight mode, you know, where there's probably a second where he was like gonna do it without thinking about it, and he's like, nope, I know this guy, like I'm not gonna kill him. But just like how emotional this fight is, you know, I compare it to Batman vs Superman, which I think they said one of the reasons they made this film is because they knew Batman vs Superman was coming, and they were like, oh, we should have, you know, heroes fight heroes. But this has so much emotion that's been building up over years, whereas Batman vs Superman, that fight happens and they don't know each other really at all.
It wasn't organic enough, no.
Yeah, exactly. It was rushed. So,
looking back on DC, and we can talk about this if we ever do a commentary for them. Like there's so many things that they could have just done better. We didn't even need that Batman vs Superman movie. They could have just rolled out with the Justice League, and I would have been okay with it.
Yeah, it was a bit rushed.
Or maybe
I do
maybe do
fight,
Wonder Woman first, and then
yeah, they just or like do Aquaman and Cyborg and do all that stuff first, and then build up to it. Because like that's why Avengers I think did so well, is because we saw like Thor, Cap, and Iron Man each have their standalone. You're like, oh, they're all going to be in the same movie together. Whereas like Justice League's like, okay, we know like one or two of these people. Now it's like, nope, now there's like all these people together.
Yeah. I mean, but it worked. You can watch a review for Justice League, but
yeah,
it worked.
Yeah, you can watch that review. It's fine. I don't know. But that Batman vs Superman fight, I still stand by that. I like that fight, but that's the only really good part of that whole movie. Mm-hmm. The rest of it's like, and it's super long too. That one, like this movie's a little under 2.5 hours, but that movie is like that and more. Especially if you do like the director's cut.
I can't believe how long they made that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very long, and that one only has so it's Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, with like obviously Lex Luthor and Doomsday, but this movie, like how many like heroes do you have in this movie? Like you're trying to give screen time to, and still make it a Cap movie, which I know some people are bothered by that. They're like, why is this a Cap movie? It's like Avengers, but I still say it's pretty focused around Captain America. Like he's kind of the focal point still. It's like his point of view that we're getting a lot of, but they do a good job kind of giving love to everybody. Would you say that you're kind of let down that this is like the third Captain America movie?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah.
I have always found it weird that it was a Captain America movie. It very well could have been an Avengers. It should have been maybe called Avengers Civil War.
Yeah, that's true. I think because it kind of came relatively hot off the heels of Age of Ultron, they didn't want to do that because then everyone would just say like, why don't you just make every movie as an Avengers movie?
But Captain America dies, right? In this storyline.
In Civil War, I think he might die. You might be right about that.
I don't think Tony kills him, but somehow he does die. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm still fine with it. I love the Cap trilogy, as it were. And I just don't know what you do with Cap now, if to do a solo one. Like, it'd be hard to not have him be with other heroes now, right?
I don't think we'll get another solo Captain film.
Probably not.
Or
if they're not doing Iron Man, then they probably won't do Cap. Because Iron Man just sells so well.
They're not doing an Iron Man 4, are they?
There have been rumors about it. I just don't think Downey Jr. really wants to.
He's probably like, why would I need to? Let's just... I was already... Well, Homecoming was pretty much Iron Man 4, right? Let's be honest.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I think that for him, what they're going to do is instead of doing Iron Man 4, they'll just have him be in movies like this one featured prominently, like Homecoming featured prominently. And kind of throughout that, you could make an Iron Man 4 if you wanted to, you know? So, yeah. What I am interested to see, though, Levi, is to see how he breaks everybody out of the raft. Like, I want that to be, like, the opening to Infinity War, maybe. I don't know how they'll do it, but, like, to have a mission where he goes to break all of them out of here, which... It sounds really cool to me. Like, how did he get there, you know? Maybe Black Panther must have helped him.
How long have these guys been waiting to get released, though?
Probably a couple of days at least.
Oh, you didn't think it was anything longer than that?
Yeah, it couldn't be. They wouldn't leave him there. And also, you kind of look at, like, the guys, and, like, you think that... I don't know if they're shaving or whatever, but, like, sometimes, like, if they're prisoners, they might not have... that they might look more haggard if it was more time had been spent there. That phone that we see here, by the way, that he gets FedExed from Cap, is also, I think, the phone that you see in Infinity War when he goes to Doctor Strange's place. He has it in one hand, so which is really cool. I love that.
It's a good year. We finally get to see a lot of tie-up. In Infinity War.
Exactly. There's that blinking light, by the way. Yeah. And there it is, baby. Captain America Civil War. Levi, give me a score out of 10 for it for you, because I've reviewed this, so you guys can watch that. But what do you give it, man? Out of 10?
9 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything like that you would really change a lot of? Is there anything that you don't really like?
I don't really like the ending.
What do you mean, like the last fight scene?
No, I like that part. I don't like the build up to the last fight scene. I think I don't know. I'm not sure if I like the setting. Honestly.
Okay.
I like that area that they go to, and I wish that could have been trimmed down a little bit, and maybe had the final fight scene at a different location. No, I don't know.
Sure. Maybe. Okay. But they kind of changed it up, which is good, because they have, 3 or 4 pretty massive
and
ones.
I think it would have been nice, to throw Black Panther into that fight scene, too, and, have him maybe be like, hey, don't kill your friend,
Yeah, the issue would be it would be like kind of maybe him and Iron Man against Bucky and Steve, but maybe not, because he kind of heard that, like, once he heard that Zemo was the one who killed his dad, like, he had no reason to want to hurt Winter Soldier anymore.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So, yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, but again, this is still a Cap movie, so they kind of want to give him more time to have that emotional moment. And I think if you put Black Panther in a pit with those other guys, like the setting that they were in, Black Panther's going to come out on top. There's not going to be that scene where Cap, like, almost kills Iron Man, because it's so hard for anyone to do anything to Black Panther, any of those guys. So, little tease here at the end. We'll wrap up with seeing this shot of Wakanda here, which I was so excited to see. Do you like the look of Wakanda, Levi? Like how futuristic-y
I
it
do,
is?
yeah. I really do.
Yeah, it's very sleek.
I think it shows a lot of integrity on Black Panther's part in order to be able to do this for them.
Yeah, for sure. And like to basically take in a person that he thought a day before had like killed his father.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool to have like a new best friend who's like the king of like the most advanced society on the planet. Oh, just a little tease here of Black Panther, man. Ugh. So good. So
do you think
good.
Winter Soldier is going to pop up in Black Panther?
There's a chance. I kind of theorized that he was going to pop up and like he was going to get de-thawed in that movie to help Black Panther with a problem that like to Wakanda. He's going to be like, I'm only waking you up because I need your help on this one thing, and then I'm going to put you back under.
He could. You know? Who else do you think we're going to see?
I don't know if we're going to see too many other people. We might see a tease of, Cap at the beginning, and then like going off being like, I have to go do something, and be like, all right, see ya. But I don't know if we're going to see too many other people in that movie. I think they're going to really focus in on that society and the villains and Black Panther as a character, T'Challa. So yeah. All right, people, thank you so much for listening to this. I hope you guys liked it. Like I said before, or we've kind of alluded to, we review here all the time. So check out see the review for this movie if you want to see what we actually, like gave it a score. Like I gave it a score, but you got to kind of hang out with me as we talked about it. But you should definitely tweet at us. Levi, what hashtag should they tweet at us to let us know that they watched this? Like hashtag
Black
Panther?
I don't know, Go Critical Civil War, something like that.
How about hashtag Team Black Panther?
There you go, Team Black Panther.
Yeah, and what's your Twitter handle, Levi?
I'm at Levi Fletcher.
All right, yep, and I'm at JimmyGood013, or you can tweet at GoCritical. Either one of those. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like. Let us know if you enjoyed this, what you thought of the movie. And we are also on Twitch, and we're on Patreon, and all those other places. So if you want to support us, check us out over there. But thank you, Levi, for joining me for this. I hope we get to do more of these if you're interested. This is just fun to watch this movie with you right before, kind of get ready for Black Panther this week.
Absolutely.
Which I'm really excited about. So a review to come of that, too. But thank you, man. And thanks, everybody else. And we will see you next time.
Yep.
Take care.